Hi everybody, welcome to your overview of Assignment 5, your problem-based learning assignment, which is your final team assignment. I'm doing a little voiceover PowerPoint, which will be connected to a question and answer forum. I'm just trying something new this class. We're going to see how this question and answer forum goes. A little bit inspired by all of you who have tried new things in this course. So thanks for joining me on this. So here's the overview of the assignment. So first I just want to say that there's nothing in this brief presentation that isn't already shared in the Moodle shell. I just find sometimes if I go over it and highlight the key things, it can clarify things for people that reading through it on your own doesn't necessarily do. So there shouldn't be any conflicting information here. And you can go and review and even find more details in the assignment description and the rubric on the website. Okay. So what are we doing in this assignment? So the goal is to develop a plan for building and maintaining school community partnerships within a school community. And you're going to do this as a team. And I recommend that you do this as a paper or a report, and it will be 10 pages or 2,500 words max, and that excludes your APA references. But as much as I say I recommend this, I'm always open to other alternative formats that also address the criteria. So not only am I open to them, I get a little excited by them. So if you submit a paper report, that's great. I'm recommending that because I know that that works and you'll be able to address things in a straightforward way. But if you want to try something different, if you want to try it as a concept map, then you're invited to. It might be a little bit much to put into a concept map, but maybe not. So go ahead and explore that if you like. Okay. So you're going to go about this assignment by selecting one of the schools that you mapped an assignment for, and that will be your case study school. So as a team, you're going to decide which one that you're going to work on, and I'll talk a little bit in a couple of slides about how to go about making that choice. Here's what you should have at minimum in your report. So you're going to have an introduction where you're going to lay out what you're doing and where and why. You're going to summarize your analysis of existing school data on founding community needs and assets. So this is what was revealed in assignment 4. So you'll have a little section where you share the main findings and discussion of those findings. You're going to recommend the gathering of any additional data, but only if necessary. So maybe there's a need for data that's not currently available, but that would enhance and support the plan down the road. Okay, and how might you go about collecting that, and what might you hope from doing that? Then you're going to determine, list, and discuss strategies for addressing the results of this analysis. So these are the strategies that will help you build and maintain the school community partnerships. Okay, and this is really the heart of the assignment, and I'm going to discuss the strategies in more depth and how to go about that. Okay. And then you're going to connect your plan to the research literature, and you're going to make some research practice connections, and then you'll have a conclusion. Do you need to have the structure exactly like this? No, you can play with it a little bit, but you'll see when I go over the criteria for the assignment, they're fairly well mapped on to this structure. So you want to make sure that you have this at minimum, and you want, when we look at the criteria, you'll want to see pay attention to some of the little additional bits that you'll want to include within these sections. Okay, in terms of like how much time you might spend on one section versus another. You'll see that when we talk about the strategies section, which is the 4th point down here, it's recommended that that be 3 to 4 pages approximately. So then working out from that, if you have a maximum of 8 to 10 pages, you want to make sure that your introduction is not going to be 3 pages long. It might be maybe a page. Your conclusion might be a page. You might summarize assignment 4 and the findings from that in maybe a page and a half, maybe 2 pages. You might have a half page or so that talks about gathering additional data if necessary, and then 3 to 4 pages on the strategies, which is the heart of your assignment, and then maybe 2 pages, a page and a half, 2 pages on making these research practice connections. Okay, so that gives you kind of a sense of it. So how are you going to go about this? Now, the assignment itself, I don't know why I don't have this up here. It's a pretty important piece of information, but the assignment itself is due on February 8th, the last day of class. So that's in your course schedule and on the assignment. Should be on the assignment description as well, but it's due on the last day of class. So, but you're going to start working on it in this unit, and by the end of Unit 5, you'll have together created a draft of the key strategies. So that heart of the assignment I was talking about, that 3 to 4 pages, you'll have accomplished that together by the end of Unit 5. A draft of it by the end of Unit 5. So obviously leading up to doing that, you're going to, as a group, decide which school to study for the assignment. You'll look at the options, the 5 schools that were mapped, and decide what you want to do. And then you're going to share and discuss relevant data based emerged out of assignment 4 and some possible research connections from the readings that you've been doing. Okay, so there's a forum set up for you to do this work, and in Unit 5, it's called Problem-Based Learning, Developing the Plan Team Forum. So you can work in that forum. And some of you prefer to work in Google Docs, and I'm totally fine with that. So you can work in Google Docs if you want. But regardless of where your process unfolds, by the end of Unit 5, you'll have shared this draft of the key strategies in the class forum. And so that can be point form. It doesn't have to be nice paragraphs or anything. But it should be you're thinking about 3 pages. And I mean 3 pages double spaced, not single spaced. Okay. So how are you going to select the school out of the 5 possible schools? So you want to think about what data is available and how much data that you have to work with. You want to think about the context and the situation in terms of what kind of partnerships, school community partnerships are there. You want to think about the challenges that it offers you and what kind of difference you can make, and if there's a significant difficult to reach, quote unquote, population within that school. And then what are the interests within the group? Okay. You don't need to, and by don't need to, I mean you shouldn't wait until your assessed assignment 4 is returned to you before beginning this process of deciding what school to use for the case. So because the grade, first of all, the grade and the feedback that you'll get on assignment 4 doesn't influence this assignment. And also, honestly, there's 35 of you and there's 1 of me, so it's going to take me, probably the full 2 weeks to work through and turn around all of those assignments. I'll move as quickly as I can, obviously, but realistically, you'll need to get this show on the road before I am able to return the assignments to all of you. Okay. So the strategy section that I was talking about, that 3 or 4 pages that you'll have a draft done by the end of Unit 5. So here's some considerations for that. And again, this comes right out of the assignment description, and there's even more details in the assignment description. So please go and take a close look at that. So you're going to plan either by school goals or by type of involvement. And for reference, I'm pointing you to Epstein, these 2 groups of pages 181 to 184, 185 to 190. So there's sample outlines for planning by school goals, and there's sample outlines for planning by type of involvement. And whatever approach you decide to use, just a caveat that there's in your text more details are called for. The forms that they have in the text are more detailed than that are needed for this assignment. So they'll prompt you to think about all these different kinds of roles, for example, that you probably won't have, and that's okay. Okay. So look at the assignment criteria and the assignment structure and what's needed there, and don't, Epstein isn't your Bible, right? So it's used there to support you, but you don't have to do everything that they do. Okay. You're going to choose 3 areas to work on. So 3 is manageable for the purpose of this assignment and will already give you a lot to work on. So choose the 3 that are most relevant for the school that you're planning for, which in each of the 3 areas that you're working on, you're going to develop a list of activities. I'd recommend just beginning with a brainstorm of all the possibilities, but then narrowing it down to the 3 that are most doable and manageable. Okay. So you'll have 3 areas, and within that you'll have 3 or 4 activities within each area. And then you're going to have a section that explains how you're going to evaluate your plan. And just like The activities, your plan for evaluation should be straightforward and time effective. It should be doable or else it won't get done. And I apologize about the little typo there. And then you want to think a little bit about how you could develop a new action team for partnerships or extend responsibilities of maybe an existing school team to coordinate the plan. So who's going to be responsible for this? Now, within your group, you're going to have different roles. So if your school is the one that was selected, you're going to play a slightly different role than the other 4 group members. You're going to be the main provider of information. You're going to be the key informant, and you'll respond to all the group's questions. You'll also have a key role in assessing the feasibility of the plan, because you would be the one who would be marching forward with this in your school community and implementing and partnering with everybody to unfold it. So the other members in the group will have the primary responsibility for developing the plan. Okay, so they'll be making sure that all the needed information is included. But all of you need to be responsible for ensuring the written report and the communication of the plan is of high quality. I think teams sometimes struggle when one person is responsible for one part and they don't even look at another part of the plan. One person does the arm while another person does the leg and another person does the head. And, it's really important that everybody has an overview of the entire plan. I'm going to talk a little bit about the assessment criteria. So this comes right out of the rubric, obviously. So, and I'm only going to review the exceeding expectations level because Melm, this is where you guys want to be. So there's 5 different criteria that will support you. The first one is produces effective written material. This is probably should be pretty familiar to you by now. It's been probably 90% of your assignments. It speaks to the organization and the logic of the piece. It speaks to the voice, and by voice, what I mean is I can actually hear that your authenticity. I can hear, it's not some contrived academic voice that you're putting on. I can hear, your thoughtfulness and your working through your ideas, and that's about as best as I can describe it. Free of grammar and spelling errors, so you've done this masterful job of proofreading, and it meets the APA standards with no errors or omissions. Second criteria is that you're articulating a plan for action based on relevant data and linked to current research. So this really speaks to many of the components in the structuring of the plan that I talked about in the first slide. So you're going to include a well-written summary of the key findings from the analysis of existing school data and recommendations for gathering of other data. You're going to include clearly developed strategies for building or improving partnerships where the links to the areas of need as identified in the analysis are made explicit. You're going to provide clear evidence of how any ethical or cultural implications are considered before reaching decisions or taking action, and include specific examples. Okay, it's important that you're grounding your big ideas like ethics and cultural implications in an actual example. And the proposed plan is supported by appropriate connections to literature and research, and they're integrated well into the text. Okay, so you're explaining what you're doing, you're giving the connection, and you're explaining why it's important or relevant. Applies critical thinking to the integration of knowledge and practice. So the plan is organized by focusing on school goals or on types of involvement. So we just discussed that. How are you going to approach the strategies? How are they going to be focused on goals or types of involvement? And the rationale for choosing 3 areas of development most relevant for the school is clearly stated. Okay, so how are you going about it, and what's your rationale for the 3 areas that you selected? 3 or 4 partnership activities or strategies are developed for each area chosen, and the desired outcomes are clearly stated and linked explicitly to student success. And the plan includes specific evaluation strategies for each of the 3 areas of focus that monitor the success of partnership activities, and without being too labor intensive. So it's doable, it's manageable, and it's realistic. It recognizes the role played by positive relationships with the whole school community. So the plan will include a discussion of how to build relationships and nurture existing ones with parents and the broader community, with particular attention to the areas of need as identified in the mapping analysis. So that's the previous assignment. Okay, so this is what it's all about fundamentally, right? This building of relationships. And you're going to recognize the value of building sustaining inclusive culture. So this speaks directly to the benefits of the team approach to developing and implementing the partnership plan, and articulates how such a team could be mobilized at the school sites. So how are you going to include people and move forward together? And it'll include strategies to welcome and sustain team membership. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the criteria. Please go look at the rubric. It really does help. And that's it for now. If you have questions, I am trying something a little bit different this course. If you have a question about the assignment, you can post it to the class assignment 5 question and answer forum, and myself or another student can respond for everyone's benefit, so everybody can see. Because I get some common questions often emerge for people, so it's just helpful to do it like this maybe. But you're always welcome to contact me the usual ways as well. You can email me or you can call me on my cell phone, because we know I'm very rarely sitting at my office desk. So honestly, do call me if you need. Those calls usually last just a couple of minutes and they don't bother me. Okay? So thanks everybody, and I look forward to connecting with you around this.